Pretty Little Liars, the television series, sometimes deals with disturbing and problematic topics. We provided a list of content warnings in the episode description. To Dead Ends. I'm Emily.
I'm Brenton.
And we have 2 new episodes from season 5 of Pretty Little Liars. And then we have
the finale.
Welcome to the Dollhouse. But we're not on Welcome to the Dollhouse yet. We got to get there.
No, we have the trial of the century first.
I know. It's very fun.
It's really fun.
The trial's fun.
It's great. Alison has the worst goddamn attorneys.
Alison, yeah, literally they have so much money and they were like, what if we get her someone who like literally doesn't believe her? Which like I get, like Alison isn't exactly the character that you want to believe, but like no. You want to find the one person who will.
Mm-hmm. That will actually like do something. It's very much like, let's see what the other side's going to do. And it's like, I agreed with Veronica that we're not putting you on that stand. And then it's like, we're putting you on the stand.
Well, and then for it to be the, like her lawyer's like, it's amazing that they found this like on our 1 hour lunch break that you had won a archery contest or whatever. And it's like,
you didn't prepare for this?
Also, didn't Alison play field hockey?
Yes.
Okay, I have some questions.
Oh, about like her arm?
Yeah.
Wait, she might have only played field hockey in the books.
Maybe. Yeah, maybe.
It was definitely in the books. I don't know if she played field hockey in this. But she was doing mountain climbing. But that piece is you could easily poke holes in it. It's so funny. It's like
I was like, oh, she's gonna be left-handed. You know what I mean? Like, I'd forgotten about this.
And then they're just like, well, you won this archery competition, and Mally's like, well, I lied about that one, so I guess I'm not gonna say anything.
Yeah. I don't know, like, because the other kids were really bad at it. Like, it was a children's archery competition.
I know.
None of us were good.
It was like a summer camp.
Mm-hmm.
But just the very least that she couldn't be like, hey, your back's against the wall at that point. You might as well just be like, yeah, I'd like coerce someone into doing that. Even if people did, that doesn't exactly help your case for certain people. You just you got to do what you got to do. Mm-hmm. But that was the only, her attorneys had literally 0 wins. The prosecution had him against the wall. And it seems like the jury did not take that long. It is like the same day.
Well, and it was like, what? If they think that Alison had help and Hannah was a part of it, don't they need that part of the story to charge her with murder?
Oh yeah, there's like nothing that actually like links
Hannah, except for the Hannah's the blood's on the clothes.
Mm-hmm. But in that trial for Alison, they don't even talk about her killing Mona, other than I guess the showing the tape. But it's like that's not really what it's about.
Yeah, it's painting her as a liar.
Mm-hmm.
But then you're like, okay, so then how are we putting Hannah? Like, just because Alison didn't even say, but just because when's Hannah's trial? I guess.
Yeah, I'm assuming that's. I'm assuming we won't get that, but presumably it's like next. And right now it's just we have to paint without a shadow of a doubt that like Allie was in that video or like Allie was the one that did it. But the jury takes about a lunch break and then they decide that Alison is guilty. I mean,
when you're only getting paid like what is it, $15 a day, like, you're gonna do what you gotta do. I don't know what they pay in Pennsylvania, but
it's also Alison too, so it's like. That's really coming home to roost. They probably just went back and they're like, so she's all guilty. Yes. All right. Let's finish our lunch and then we'll come back out.
So they had to be people that like didn't know her or know of her to get picked for the jury.
Mm-hmm.
How did she have a trial in Rosewood is what I want to know. Like, how do you have a trial about a girl that was missing in a town, like, and expect no one to know her? Like, it's not a big enough town.
And who had caused all sorts of menacing and trouble in the time she was there.
You would think her lawyer would have requested to move it to a different district.
Right. That is it.
I believe. I said that like I don't have a degree in legal. I have a degree in English.
You would think though, but this would be the thing.
I've read a lot of mysteries though. Nancy Drew would not stand for this.
Legal thrillers. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, She has bad representation.
She is, yeah.
It's the worst. So sucks for Alison, and then sucks for all of them. Tanner just showing up with a squad of police, and it's just like, as soon as the guilty verdict comes down, we're arresting these high schoolers.
She's gonna arrest high schoolers in the courtroom?
Yeah, she's just like, as soon as this comes down, we strike.
It's wild.
It's so funny.
The girlies are all in their orange jumpsuit eras. Oh my god, you wore orange too.
I did.
Obviously,
going down to Chester County.
That was super intentional, I can tell.
What is this?
Oh god, he doesn't know his colors.
Yeah,
so we shall see what happens.
Mm-hmm.
Are you ready to take us through episode 23?
Absolutely. Season 5, episode 23, episode 118. The melody lingers on. Allie's lawyer. This is like a reference. They put either a reference to a classic song or a movie from 1935 where a piano virtuoso abandons her career in order to locate the war baby she deserted years ago. It's from 1935. That sounds like a good time. You know, as much as a downer can be a good time. Allie's lawyer walks Alison and her dad through a blueprint of the courthouse, kind of walking through. Here's what you should expect. Here's where the prosecutor is going to be located, the jury, all that sort of stuff. And now she should act during court. And then explains to them that the prosecutors really have the harder job because they have to prove that Alison killed Mona without a shadow of a doubt. Cut to Ted and Ashley visiting Hannah in jail. Ashley thinks that Alison is doing this to Hannah, and Hannah's like, it's not Alison. Ashley urges her to tell them anything to help her get her out. And Ashley is very... What? I was trying to remember, because Ashley's like, I've been on the other side of Allie's lies. What was it specifically? It was like her... Because Allie, earlier in the season, goes to her, right? To confide, like to have Ashley on her side. And she lies about something.
Yeah, well, Noel breaks in.
Oh, the break-in. Thank you.
You're welcome. Damn, I'm good.
Yeah, because I was like, there's something.
I'm sitting here like there's no, Allie has lied so many times and she will continue to. So like, how am I supposed to? I got a little information for you. Homegirl's not going to change.
You would think.
Maybe, I never saw The Perfectionist.
All right.
I don't know. But
this is why scaring people straight doesn't work. Spencer says the same number on the Varjak receipt matches the phone number in the ads they found in Allie's attic. Arya wonders if that even matters since everything else they found in the attic was obviously fake. Veronica walks downstairs and tells them to stay away from Alison's trial. She's concerned what the jury will think if they show up. Spencer pushes back and asks what they're supposed to do when Hannah's on trial, and Veronica makes her swear that she won't go near the trial. At the brew, the three friends visit with Caleb, and he can't find anything related to the phone number, and the phone itself is incredibly locked down. Spencer tries texting the number via one of Caleb's burner phones that says, I miss you, love Holly. Spencer leaves, and Emily asks Caleb to tell Hannah to get... Spencer leaves, and Emily asks Caleb to relay a message to Hannah to get close to Alison to ask about the phone number. Spencer tries to talk to Jason, and he doesn't want to talk to her because he's angry that he's now involved as a witness for the prosecution because he's the one that,
he's like so mad he listened to a high schooler. And I'm like, and his half-sister.
Right.
I mean, I guess both his sisters are his half-sisters.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Allie's dad follows behind and is angry with Spencer. Arya finds Andrew in class to talk. They catch up, and Mike is apparently off in Harrisburg on a lacrosse team field trip. Andrew doesn't like how much people memorialize Mona and how he's like, she was so ruthless and selfish. And Arya's like, wait, are you saying that like the world's better off without her? And Andrew's like, well, there's like, just so you know, there was other people like around here too. Emily receives a call from Alison, and Emily tries to reassure Allie and apologizes. And Allie asks if she'll be at the trial, and Emily's like, well, I'll be there. Alison's trial arrives, and we see the jury. In my notes, I wrote, and we see the jury escorting in as some Depeche Mode style music plays. It is, in fact, Depeche Mode. We see lots of characters, including Cindy and Mindy, in the audience. Still no lines. Emily and Arya arrive as well. The prosecutors talk about like high school. It's like a battlefield, and you need to put your enemies down quickly. And it's like, and Alison here is very familiar with that. And I can prove that Alison lied about being kidnapped and told a fake story. He says Mona knew the truth, and that's why they Alison and her friends killed her to silence her. Arya calls Spencer to update her and says they probably know about New York too. And Spencer, who's not at the trial at the behest of her mom, thinks that Cyrus must be the source of the info. Allie's dad comes up to Arya and Emily saying you talked Alison into lying, didn't you? And Jason's like, no, she lied to them too. Allison's on laundry duty again and sees Hannah escorted in. They both work together folding laundry. Allison says the personal ads were real and the number was too. Someone bought a tribute ad in the paper when my mom died, and there was a quote from a book that my mom used to read me as a kid. I texted the number and they said they knew who killed Jessica, and Allison thinks it was Mona because the text stopped when Mona disappeared. Interesting. Veronica asks Spencer about Emily and Arya being at the courthouse, and Spencer's like, well, did you know what was going to happen at court today? Is that why you told me to stay away? And that's why, like, you and Melissa lied to me? Veronica's like, well, I knew, and I'm trying to protect you. Spencer asks, like, don't you want to know if, like, she knew about Alison's story? And Veronica says, no, because you didn't. Caleb visits Hannah and catches up on the information around the personal ads. Hannah says Alison's scary. I can see something running behind her eyes. Caleb promises they're going to get her out. She wants him to promise that he'll stay safe and run off if things go bad. The other three friends try to piece things together with Caleb at the brew. Arya gets a call from the Varjak number, and nobody knows what to do, so Caleb grabs the phone from her and answers it. The phone then has music playing in what sounds like French. The song... Oh no, this page refreshed.
You lost your notes.
Scroll. The song is... Where'd it go? Paris Skies A by Edward J, Eve Lusso, and Vasco. I couldn't really find much on it other than people on YouTube being like, Pretty Little Lars brought me here. And they call Hannah, and Hannah says Mona used to play this music. And Caleb says it was A that called, and Arya says then Mona never sent the lawyer. They also theorize that if Mona hid the tape in her room, there must be other things she actually hid in there. Hannah's time on the call runs out, and Arya volunteers to go visit Mona's mom. Arya and Emily then leave, and Caleb stops Spencer. They end up having a little buddy-buddy moment and vent about their bad feelings, and Hannah being stuck by the police, and Hannah wanting him to leave, and then Spencer also vents a bit about things not going well with Toby. Arya and Emily find that Mona's mom isn't home. Emily is worried that if there is evidence at Mona's, that it might not be enough. We get a first-person POV shot from Mona's window, so maybe someone was watching him? ? Jason visits Spencer at her house, and Jason's like, I let Alison run away, and then you and her friends courted her and gave her over to the police, and why would I do that unless, I might have believed her? I can't believe, you essentially got her locked up. And then I can't believe that I listened to you, Spencer, and, they shuffled around the witnesses. I'm being forced to testify tomorrow. Spencer is about to leave in the morning and leave a note for her mom when Veronica rounds the corner, and Spencer's like, well, I probably could have made it out of here if I hadn't written this damn note. Spencer says she has to go to Allie's trial, and Veronica tries to stop her, but Spencer leaves. The court is then shown the video of Mona's attack that was from the camera inside the vent. Jason is on the stand. They ask why he decided to tell the truth about his alibi all of a sudden and doesn't believe Alison. He doesn't believe that Alison is in the video there, even though at the time when police asked him, he said that it could be her. Prosecutor asks if he knows Hannah Marin, and he's like, yes. And it's like, do you know Ashley Marin? He's like, yes. It's like, Ashley worked for you, didn't she? And he's like, yes. And it's like, did you ever meet socially? And it's like, yes. Outside of the office? Of course. It's like, well, in public places? Yes. And it's like, what about private places? It's like, excuse me? And it's like, how would you characterize these private meetings? Did anything happen in private with Ashley that made you change your story? Did Ashley do something to entice him or to entice you? And then the prosecutor is like, ends up getting shut down by the judge, but not enough to leave where the entire court is scandalized. Arya and Emily and Spencer are extremely weirded out by this Jason Ashley reveal, and then it looks like it looks to the court that he thinks that Alison did kill someone, but was coerced by Ashley. Spencer goes to talk to Jason.
I would have never gotten there on my own.
No,
I would have been like, "This town seems messed up."
Yeah, I was like, "Oh, good lord."
Who cares?
Spencer...
Don't put me on your jury. I will not be putting two and two together.
Oh, that's what you all picked up on? How did you get there?
What people do in their bedrooms, their business.
Right. Yeah, I think it's a little weird that it's like, the girl's brother, but, he's an adult. Spencer goes to talk to Jason and ask about Ashley, and he's like, it's none of your business. And he's no longer welcome in his own home. She offers to take him in, and he's like, I'll figure something out. Ashley and Ted catch up after, and Ted ignores his phone, and she's like, we can't avoid this forever. And he's like, well, it seems the ladies of the congregation seem to already know about this. Ashley tells him, you can go. And he's like, no, we can get through this. And Ashley says, and then what? And there's no such thing as a clean slate. And tells him to leave. Spencer, Arya, and Emily go to Mona's. They find no one's home again, and as they go to leave, they hear the French music playing again, and they go back to find the front door unlocked. They all run upstairs and find Mona's room torn apart. Emily stops the record from playing and finds a note from A that essentially says, finders, keepers, losers, weepers. Arya then says, why do we think A found something? Maybe they set this up to discourage us from searching.
How many seasons did it take for these girls to finally get smart?
Well, they did not get smart.
Well, but they did a little here.
Yes.
They're like, wait a minute, we shouldn't take what this person who's torturing us says at face value. Huh.
Right. Maybe we should question this person that is obviously not reliable. They then try to think like Mona, and Spencer gets an idea and picks up her handheld mirror and finds a note card behind the mirror that says, Chandelier's Rituals, Sister Launched Layer, a Ruler's List Chained. Coming soon, the next big fantasy book. The camera cuts away.
Me naming characters at 2 a.m.
Right?
Chandelier's lair. Walk down the street.
Oh my god, that would be okay, so in Gundam, when Tomino specifically creates it, which is the original creator, he just has the most ridiculous names possible. Chandelier Ritual is fits right square in there.
I love it.
The camera cuts away.
We'll call her Shandy.
Mm-hmm. I watched Dunbind. This is just a different show he made. And there's a main character on that named Marvel Frozen. And Shot Weapon. So, see,
call me Read Book.
That's right. I'm Ruler's List Chained. The camera cuts away to Andrew standing on the street staring at Mona's house, looking all ominous. And then we see that the front of Mona's house window is broken, and there's an ice pick in the ground near the glass. They go to the brew, and Andrew approaches Arya to talk. He's like, I gave you a bad impression about Mona earlier, and I didn't look like the look on your face when I said those things, and I don't want you to believe that I think that she deserved what happened to her. And then he kisses her on the cheek, surprising Arya, and he's like, oh, sorry, it looks like I surprised you again. She's like, it's okay. Ashley visits Hannah, apologizing to her. Hannah says maybe, it says, whatever happens, we'll be okay. And it's like, maybe I'll write a book. Lots of people write books in prison.
Me. Not in prison, but, just...
Right. Just referring to the last episode, you being like, maybe I need to be locked up.
Maybe someone needs to put me in a room with just a desk and a bed.
Ashley talks down on herself. It's like, I'm the worst mom ever. And Hannah's like, no, you're the best mom ever. If I end up being like half the person you are, I'd be the best person ever. And gives her a nice pep talk. It's nice. Jason visits Alison, and he's like, we're both two of a kind. And Allie's like, well, lying is a one-way street. And it's kind of like the spikes, if you back up on them, they blow your tires. Allie encourages him to run off, and Jason says that he believes her. Veronica comes home angry with Spencer, but just doesn't say anything and just passive-aggressively stares at her as she walks through the room. Spencer continues to ponder the note card. Emily closes up with the brew and decides to sit on the end of Johnny's whisper machine and cups her hand to her ears. I had no idea that apparently this recorded everybody that did it.
Yeah.
So she just starts listening back to the recordings like, ha ha, like this, but then suddenly hears a recording of the French music. By God, that's Mona's music. We cut to a lab where they review the ice pick we saw earlier as evidence, and the handle has a label that says Boo Boo's Ice Cream. Interesting. A gloved hand shreds a social security card for a Paul Varjak and then puts it under the cage for a returning favorite. Ladies and gentlemen, it's her, Tippy the bird.
At least we think it's Tippy. She was singing the number.
It went up.
Yeah. Why is Ashley so convinced that A is Allie? Because it's convenient? Because it's better than believing that it's someone else?
Because, I think probably because of the whole Noel break-in and shit incident. And it's like, I don't know who else is around you, kid, you girls that you hang out with, but she's obviously extremely bad news. Which, who can blame her?
Why wouldn't
She
Mrs.
is.
Hastings just tell the girls that they're also being examined for the case and that that's why they shouldn't be there because they're more likely to get arrested?
Yeah, what?
Also,
Why
'cause,
would
like,
that matter?
also them attending makes sense to me because, like, even if they weren't friends with Allie and they were standing against her, like, being there to to see justice for Mona.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I would go.
Yeah,
You want to see
absolutely.
justice for your friend.
They're also the ones that worked with police to put her in jail.
Yeah. That's what I also don't get.
Uh,
Why would Tanner arrest them for a crime that then they turned Allie in for?
Right. Like, what's the motive there that they like threw one of their own under the bus? But then it's everybody's just like, well, they're such good friends, and they also went back and I guess because they go back and visit her, but especially the Mrs. Hastings thing. What difference would it make if they knew ahead of time?
Mm-hmm.
Alison, watch out, and wouldn't that be a good thing for your daughters? Because if they are connected to this, pretty much, there's a lot of people in these 2 episodes that are actively hoping that like Allie gets arrested. But since there's so much connections to the friends, you would think it would be a better idea to try and make sure that she's found innocent.
Well, and I don't think Mrs. Hastings wants her arrested. She's working with Allie's team.
Right.
That's why Allie's like, will you coach me on how to be on the stand?
Right. But why didn't
then she does it? I don't really know what happens there either.
Yeah, and I was going to say, and she doesn't help, she doesn't provide info on what the prosecution's going to do. Doesn't give them a heads up, it seems.
Was Andrew...
but I will say to the thing, we had a debate in last episode that you're like, they don't know about Allie lying about her kidnapping.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so just wanted to loop back around that you were 100% correct. It is a very big, important plot point.
That's me. 60% right. Was Andrew jealous of Mona? Is that what this whole thing is about? Because she was on the athletic, academic decathlon or...
Yeah, I put decathlon. I don't know exactly what team they're on.
When I did it, it was Akadeca, so...
Yeah, I hadn't thought about that. Taking up his spot.
Yeah.
Spencer wasn't his rival anymore.
Well, and Spencer was always like his rival, but in a way where they respected each other because he liked her.
Right, and Mona just like
Mona's
came in and shut him
mean.
down. Yeah, which like fair enough.
Girl boss.
Yeah, and Andrew's like, I'm just a nice guy. We probably got off the wrong foot, and she's like, I don't care. I can imagine that. Yeah, I think that's a good thing to clue in on. I bet he was. I bet he is. I think he's probably harmless though. Or not harmless.
Oh yeah, give me your Andrew.
I don't think he's a part of the A stuff. I think he's
just suspiciously in weird places.
Yeah, and I think he's just not suspicious. Yes, suspiciously in weird places, but like I think he's doing. We were talking about white knighting a couple episodes ago. I think that's what he's trying to do, and Arya won't let him in, so he's just like following her around.
Oh.
He's like waiting to like help and save her. So I think he's just a kind of, weird dude in that sense, like kind of gross dude. Because and he's like supremely jealous. Because this is the one time he's gotten a girlfriend and he's like, I can't let this go. Spencer turned me down for so many times.
What do we think is going on in Jason and Mr. De Laurentiis' heads? Because it's very confusing. Like, if anything, you'd think Mr. De Laurentiis would be mad at Jason. He wouldn't be mad at Spencer. Because Jason's the one who broke basically said that our father lied for Allie, like gave her an alibi.
Right.
Also, then why isn't he an accessory? Shouldn't Mr. De Laurentiis be charged as an accessory?
Oh, for supporting her.
Yeah, for giving her an alibi. I don't know how that works. I don't have any legal background.
Yeah, I don't know.
But wouldn't he I mean, I guess it depends on what evidence they have on the girls.
I can see why Allie's dad is pissed because it's like, you got my daughter arrested.
Mm-hmm.
Jason
makes no sense. He's like,
he got bamboozled.
I listened to you, and I was like, yeah.
Yeah, but maybe you should examine yourself because you were also suspicious of your sister.
And she's done some shit.
I let her out the back door. You shouldn't have been there.
Okay.
Well, they were. And you were going along with them. You told the police. So maybe, realize that when you point that one finger, 3 pointing right back at you.
Unless you do the Disney point, and then it's 2 fingers. Then you keep the thumb down.
Oh, like this?
Yeah.
Then it's not point. Okay, some visual gags for you audio
Just,
listeners.
Teaching you important things. Why did the text stop to Alison about her mom, with the newspaper thing?
Mm.
Once Mona was gone. Was it Mona?
I'm going to say, I could actually see that being Mona. That seems like something Mona would do because she wants to rattle her.
WWMD. What would Mona do?
Right. We always wake up and we think, how could we be more petty and mean to the people in our lives?
How could we be smarter, meaner, cuntier?
Yeah. A trifecta. That's good living right there.
But in the fun way,
Exactly. Yeah, I could see actually Mona 100% setting that up just to try and scare Alison because she had a whole group that is now disappeared.
Disbanded.
That was supposedly under Alison, and yet they're all gone. You would think that even Cindy or Mindy could help out Alison here.
They are at the trial.
Like, I'm all alone. Yeah. But again, they don't get any lines. If we had them speak, this whole thing would break down.
Yeah, I don't know why they don't speak.
She converted all those people that were part of Mona's group.
Mm-hmm. But now those people don't know if they can trust Allie because she's in jail. Like, she was caught for killing Mona. So, like, did she play them all?
But and did the lawyer go to any of them? If the lawyer's incompetence is actually explained away by like someone like the lawyer working for someone else, I would not be surprised. As of right now, it is way funnier that the lawyer is just terrible. Will
Caleb get Hannah out of jail? But now we know, like, will the boys rescue the girls from jail? Like, what's going to happen? Are they going to help get them out? Are the girlies going to have to do it themselves?
So just knowing only knowing vague stuff about like dollhouse things, I'm like, no, but they're going to end up in some other weird place. So maybe they do, but then they end up in the hands of even different sinister people that does not include a cot and a potty.
You don't think they're gonna get to pee?
I don't know, maybe. Dollhouses don't have plumbing. So yeah, maybe they do stage.
What is the jail if not a dollhouse, though? You have no control of your life in a jail.
Sure. Maybe they do stage an escape, but then they get captured.
Do you think they're like tunneling out with their little sporks?
We get a classic prison drama with them. Escape from Alcatraz.
Do you think if they're like escaping, they're gonna all get out?
Yeah, I assume so. I assume that whatever happens,
or like all released.
They all end up going to the same place. Yeah.
Okay.
That they all end up getting put in a dollhouse eventually.
Who is calling off the Varjack number?
Oh, who called?
Who called Arya's phone?
All right.
Was that the next one? Or is this one?
No, that is this one.
Okay.
A. Since part of my theory that A seems to have captured Mona, and that if Mona is the one that set up the whole Varjack stuff, that could be A.
But we don't think Mona did, right? Because
not the Varjack stuff. Sorry. Mona had set up only the number.
That was to Alison. Oh, that is the same number, though, huh?
Yeah. And
so then it has to be Mona if we use your theory.
Right, but it was...
But we don't think it is because Mona didn't have that. We don't think Mona actually told that lawyer. At least the girls don't think that Mona actually talked to that lawyer.
Right. So it's essentially that the things Mona set up are then being taken over by A.
Oh, so you think Mona did set it up and then A came in and took it?
I think Mona was doing all the texts and things, right? To rattle Alison as part of her hate campaign.
Okay.
And then as part of the it did stop because Mona got captured, okay, what was the original question, just so I can track this?
Who's calling off the Varjack number to Arya's phone? A, okay. But it was Mona's number to begin with.
Yes, it was.
You got your Psyduck era going.
It's totally...
It's so cute. You try to figure it out. Like when I watched this, I was just like, plots and vibes. Are they going to kiss?
Well, so if we were not watching this for the podcast, I would already know because we would have just tunneled ahead.
Uh-huh. Yeah, last night I was like, ooh, we're going to watch these and then you're going to want to record and we're going to have to watch the next one.
And I was like, well, maybe we could watch further, but we can't watch further ahead because I need to be in a silo each time we have these discussions. Brutal.
I wrote just a note about like Emily just being like, did Hannah's mom really sleep with Jason to get him to not like that doesn't make any sense. Like Hannah didn't actually do anything.
Emily is scandalized by everyone's romantic lives over these next 2 episodes. Well, actually, just over this entire season. Arya, you've been kissing Andrew.
Do you love him?
Right.
Like it's basically like, are you getting married? And I'm like, Jesus Christ.
The full Catholic is coming out here. And then when Spencer's like, well, I've just been, Toby.
I've kissed 2 guys.
And then it's like Emily's like, excuse?
And she's like, open mouth.
Right.
That was my favorite part.
It's really funny.
Emily's just absolutely like, what the hell is everyone doing?
Emily's side-eyeing and being just like, oh.
I know, she kissed Maya while she was still with Ben.
Well, that one's a little bit more excuse.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. Also, which one would you kiss?
Right.
Ben was horrible.
Ben!
Podcast is taking a turn.
Yeah.
The guy who tried to assault her in the locker room.
Right. We were talking when I think it was we were talking about the list, like ranking of I forget who exactly put in the comments of that Ben was included on their list. And I was like at the very bottom, and I was like, oh my god, I completely forgot about Ben.
Ben's your Sean.
Yeah.
Like, who?
Just serves for Toby to punch.
What do the notes that they found in Mona's mirror mean?
Oh, I put no comment. Okay. We read it back again. I was like, oh god, I have to try and figure out what the hell this means. Oof.
I was thinking about, do you remember that game Mona played with the first letters, like to spell something out, she would make a sentence. But then when I was watching it, because I don't remember what it means either. I was like, maybe I can figure it out real quick,
Mm-hmm.
I was like, those letters don't work. That's not a word.
So yeah, I don't know. Maybe if you mix the letters around,
You scramble them up.
Okay. I shouldn't do this on the podcast because then I'll just be like, okay, S, carry there. Sister launched layer, a ruler's list changed, chandeliers, rituals. I don't know.
Where is A's lair with Tippy? Where is A? Like, I haven't asked you yet. Like, where? Because A used to have the van.
Oh, the van.
Toby and Mona had the van.
The van was great. I hadn't thought about this. Where is A? It would seem
we don't get any like good window views.
Maybe at some point they were in the ice cream factory, and that seems to be where the ice pick is leading police to.
And didn't Spencer touch that ice pick? Did they all touch that ice pick?
When did they use?
Or their fingerprints were on the mirror.
Ice pick?
Did they use it to prop the door open?
Maybe that could be it.
I can't remember if they used it or if they just took the fingerprints, or what the insinuation was with that.
Right, because we see that there was all the hands all over the door. So where did they move to? It seemed like very kind of like industrial sort of thing where they're like had their suit and everything.
In the warehouse district.
Yeah. Where could they be? In the police station? That'd be cool.
That'd be cool.
Or they could be in a storage facility. I'm gonna say those are my 2.
Okay.
That'd be fun. They're just inside the police station. Police don't even know.
Is
inside
A
the house.
Helping the prosecution?
Absolutely. A texted mostly because the A text in the next episode of like bullseye and like woohoo.
Is this The Sims?
Wahoo! That's Mario.
I was like, I don't think that's in the same franchise.
Absolutely not.
Those are my only questions for this episode.
Yeah.
Do you have something else you want to touch on?
Yeah, I'll just wrap back around that. I think that the Ashley Jason stuff was ultimately meaningless, but that it did lead to the courtroom moment is pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
That's at least all right. I don't really care about the stuff and Ashley feeling sorry for herself and pushing Ted away.
But
Also,
she's still wearing the ring after.
right. And it also seems like, because Jason was like, well, if you're trying to be like self-destructive, like,
I respect that.
yeah, but there's no reason given for Ashley. Like,
She was lonely.
yeah, I
He'd been
guess.
gone.
Uh-huh. Is that it?
Yeah.
And felt like this weird thing of like trying to mother / like make this guy
Comfort
feel
him.
better. Yeah.
I guess. I don't
I don't
know.
know. Yeah, that's what I'm just like, huh?
It doesn't
And
make
also,
any sense for
no.
Ashley's character it makes sense for Ashley's character maybe in the book series, but it doesn't really make for Ashley's character. It doesn't make sense for Ashley's character in the show.
No.
We just thought so.
Come a long way from the lasagna box. But I think, yeah, that's it for this one.
Okay. We pause really quick.
Season 5, episode 24, episode 119. I'm a good girl. I am. We open on a newscast. It's Perd Hapley. He's a newscaster that's updating everybody on the Alison De Laurentiis case, and then he asks their special news analyst Sarah Shepard, "What's going on?" Author of the books, just in case, just to close that loop. The prosecution is going to be calling a surprise witness, and then we swipe to the court as Leslie takes the stand. Remember her? Leslie Leslie is answering questions from the prosecution. Her and Mona became friends last summer. There was a card sent to Leslie from Mona before Thanksgiving that said Allie threatened Mona, and the card said that if Mona opened her mouth, that she'd be eating Alison, she'd be eating worms. When Leslie came to town, Allison's friends and Mona's boyfriend were acting weird, and he practically attacked her. She said Hannah wouldn't let her go into Mona's room and stalked her the entire time. Spencer then exits the trial to call and update Caleb on this and sees Toby outside. Spencer is pissed that she never heard from him when Hannah was arrested. Isn't that interesting? Toby then has some bad excuses and Spencer goes to leave. Toby asks about the Oxford interview and Spencer's like, oh yeah, it went horrible. Like, I had blood that A planted. He said, you should have called me. And Spencer says, I was told not to, remember? And she says that Melissa's roommate helped her. Like, he was very sweet. And then Emily runs out to get Spencer back into the courtroom. Hannah and Alison are both on prison phones discussing Leslie. They're both on the same call, though, so they're both individually calling one of the friends, and then the friends are in the same room with the two phones. Aria wonders if Leslie is there on behalf of A, and Hannah says no, she actually really loved Mona, and that's why she hates Alison. Alison says her lawyer doesn't want to go after a possible witness. Alison says, I didn't see anyone at the playground that night on Thanksgiving, but I might not have been there alone. We then get a flashback. Alison sits alone at the playground, sitting on the swing. She hears rattling sounds and finds a jacket with roses on it on a bush. Alison runs away. In the present, Alison and Hannah run out of time with the call. Aria searches Leslie Stone on Google. She hears Mike come home and pulls him into her room. She tells Mike about Leslie's testimony, and she warns that he might get called in to testify. Aria's like, you have to keep what you know about this to yourself. And Mike's like, I already made that mistake. I'm going to tell the truth. Aria's like, but if it comes out who Mona was helping, that would be bad for everybody. I don't want you to lie. I just want you to remember 3 answers. Yes, no, and I don't remember. Hannah and Alison are getting their new jumpsuits, and Hannah passes her a note. Hannah finds in her jumpsuit a note that says, come back tomorrow at 8:05. Toby visits Tanner, who sends him on a coffee run. He's like, why am I not involved with the case? There's tons of other officers in there. Why am I not being pulled in? And Tanner's like, you're not being punished for anything. I just thought it'd be nice to have fresh coffee. Mike comes home with the box from the porch. Apparently, Aria's working on yearbook, in charge of doing student, senior pages and things. Mike says he can't keep this info to himself, and Aria just shuts him down. She opens the box, and he's like, there's a funny smell coming out of here, and then looks inside the box and finds a cow tongue. And Aria's like, don't you get it, Mike? If you talk, that'll be your tongue. And then Ella comes in asking if everything's all right, and Aria's like, oh yeah, it's all good. Aria meets with Fitz to tell him what happened. Fitz said, you need to take that to the police. She wants him to get Mike out of town, or at the very least, not to volunteer information. Fitz is silent, and Aria goes to leave, and he's like, it's not a no. I'm just trying to wrap my head around this. And Aria's like, are you trying to wrap your head around you and Mike, or you and me? He's like, I'll pick him up at 4. Emily and Spencer go to visit the playground where Allie was at on Thanksgiving. They look, there's this stone cylinder, and they find a man picking up trash around there. They ask if he's seen someone living up here. He's like, oh no, it's only been me and my youth group that come up here. And then if you want to volunteer, that'd be great. And hands them his card in case they want to. Arya helps out with student photos at school as Andrew sneaks up behind her. She never called him back the previous night, and she says, we had some family stuff, and I had Fitz take Mike out of town and bond. And Andrew's like, oh, you went to him, huh? I thought we were together, and I could bond with Mike. And Arya's like, well, my parents just, like, know and trust Fitz with Mike. Andrew says, like, oh, got the parents on his side, bah, 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 and then, like, getting all, like, mad. And then Arya says, it's not a competition, and reassures him. Caleb visits Hannah and tries to talk about getting someone on their side to testify. Caleb says, why not Mike? But Hannah's like, no, he's just a kid. Caleb, a running theme this episode. Caleb asks what he's supposed to do to help her. Like, do you really want me to just show up twice a week and tell you what was funny on South Park? He says he's not going to leave and Mike needs to speak up. Hannah cries and says he's just a kid. Spencer and Emily see a girl wearing the youth group jacket at school, the girl also has a rose-colored jacket, rose kind of patterned jacket in her backpack. Emily says she'll do the talking since Spencer can be a bit intense. They approach the girl and then immediately scare her and start asking questions about the playground and scare the shit out of her. And then the girl runs up to Ella, angry, saying, "You told your daughter, I can't believe you." Ella visits Arya in her room. Mike and Fitz are headed up to the cabin. Ella's like, Emily and Spencer had no right to corner that poor girl. And Arya's angry because Ella won't tell him why the girl, Kendra, freaked out. Ella says, well, she's a good girl and made a mistake. She went out to a party with people she didn't know and took a drug and it was cut with speed and she felt all weird and hid out of the playground until it passed. And it's like, you would be surprised what students would confide in their favorite teachers, or actually maybe you wouldn't.
Do you think that was like their way of trying to talk about like meth bombs? Like, you know what I mean? Like
yeah, maybe just kind of like a sneak in like anti-drug thing. Like
yeah, and it was like speed instead. Like they don't say any of the drugs by name.
No, I think you're probably right.
Because like that tended to be like at least like at that time what things were cut with.
Absolutely. So yeah, like, I could definitely see it.
Who cuts another party drug with coke?
Right.
That doesn't make any sense.
Only the good stuff with the good stuff. You know, they're very kind drug dealers out there.
Generous.
Exactly.
They're the drug dealers they warned you about in the DARE program. Like the ones that are going to give you drugs to get you hooked.
Mm-hmm. No freebies in this life, though. No such thing as a free bump. Economics 101, people. Ella doesn't want Arya to defend Alison, and Arya says, what happens when Hannah's on trial? Fitz and Mike enter the cabin, and they turn on the light to find Caleb sitting in the seat, as you put, like, the disappointed, like, dad chair, like, the parent waiting like for you to come home at night.
You're after curfew.
But it's so good, just Caleb sitting in the chair, just, well.
How did Caleb get there?
I know, before them.
And he got inside.
Was he been waiting there? How did he know they were going there?
I'm assuming Arya told them.
I know. It's just so funny. Caleb is like, I'm here for your reality check, and Arya gave you bad advice. You need to come back with me to testify. Fitz tries to defend Mike, keeping Mike there, and Mike's like, no, I want to go back. Fitz is like, yeah, you'll have a target on your back. And Mike's like, it's not going to go away. I need to. And Fitz has Mike he's like, go get the bads out of the car.
Which was the dumbest fucking thing ever.
It's really funny. And then yells at Caleb, you're messing with his head. And Caleb's like, good, we all have to face things we don't want to. And Fitz is like, he's just a child. He's just 16. And Caleb's like, when I was his age, I was on the streets. And then Emily immediately like turned and was just like, and now he's wearing a cardigan.
He was wearing like what looked like a really expensive cardigan.
Right.
And so I was like,
the boy who drives the Mercedes.
Yeah, well, because his mom's in Montecito.
It's just, it is very funny.
It's so funny.
I have hard times. It's like, will you be there for him when things fall apart? And kid says the kid is ready to put on the kid, like in quotes, is ready to put on his big boy pants. Like, and yeah, you know what? If he doesn't have anybody else, I'll be there to help him out. And then they hear the car start. So they're like, oh God, Mike.
Also, like Arya and her parents were going to abandon Mike. Like, what is that, Ezra? Like,
I know. It's so funny how much they talk about, like, he's just a poor innocent boy.
Meanwhile, he started dating Arya when she was that age.
A little bit of a double standard here, Fitz.
Isn't that interesting?
She was old enough then, wasn't she? Fitz, come in. Take a seat. Who you're here to meet? Emily and Spencer catch up at her house. Spencer says things are bad with Toby, and I maybe kissed another couple other guys, and Emily's scandalized by this. They see Kendra approach the door. That's where the sorry, just to go
Yeah.
back the backtrack of the closed mouth or open mouth.
Yeah.
They see Kendra approach the door, and she says, "Mrs. Montgomery called, and we need to talk." Alison does laundry and waits for the guard shift to change, and as they do, Hannah comes into the room. Allie knocks over to the church and finds a place to talk to Hannah. Hannah says there was someone at the playground. They found her. They hear guards call them back to the station, so Allie's like, "Oh, we can talk to the infirmary," and burns her arm. And then Hannah's like going to smash her own hand in the dryer, and is like, "I can," and Allison's like, "Hold still," then slams her hand. Allie visits with her lawyer in the infirmary, and she's like, "Oh my God, this is like the second time something has happened. We need to help protect you from harassment in here." And Allison's like, "It was an accident." And her lawyer clues into like that her and Hannah are scheming. Allie hands Hannah a note very obviously, and the lawyer's like, "Hey, what do you think you're doing?" She's like, that wouldn't have even like snuck past a teacher. She says, "I can't defend someone trying to manipulate the system, and I don't understand." And then like grabs the note from him, and it's like this diagram of like who's connected to A and what, like theorizing.
Well, no, it's the words. It's her trying to figure out
the chandelier ritual.
Yeah.
Oh, I see.
So I feel like
it
would have been so easy for them to just be like, it's a word puzzle.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
But they're just like, we got in trouble. She says, "I have a message for your buddy. I have a message from your buddies, and it better not be more manipulation." Fitz and Caleb find the car Mike drove off in and pulled over, and an arrow in the windshield.
Also, okay, if you were driving your car, right, and someone shot a hunting arrow at the windshield and it went into the windshield, wouldn't you keep fucking driving? You would not pull over and get out.
Yeah, that's true. I don't know why Mike pulled over and got out.
Because he was like, I gotta figure out who did it. Because he's stupid. Because what we've learned in this show is everyone in this show is the person who gets killed first in the murder mystery. But the issue is that they couldn't kill anyone off, and they had so many people that, like, who do you actually kill first?
But don't you realize he was just a boy?
Yeah, he's a dumb boy.
The lawyer asks Kendra info about her time on the playground, and Spencer and Emily keep jumping in to like help on her testimony. And Kendra says she only heard a voice from inside the cylinder but didn't see anyone. The lawyer then dismisses her and says nobody will listen to someone who is like whacked out, hiding out on drugs, and is like, "I'm instead gonna put Alison on the stand tomorrow." Fitz and Caleb find a piece of fabric on the bush as they search for Mike. Looks like they're in a summer camp. There's a specific name for it that I wrote down at the end of my notes. As arrows start flying at them, Caleb and Fitz start chucking rocks in the arrow's direction. Toby visits Spencer. He puts his badge on the kitchen island, which I thought meant I quit the force.
Me too. I was so excited.
No such luck for either of us. And he says, "I did so much
Even though
for that
I knew
badge."
he didn't.
Right. You're like, maybe this time.
He's changed.
It's like, "I did so much for that badge. I did all that to protect the one person I care about, and I'm not going to choose between that and you." Tanner's going to, like, if Tanner's annoyed that, like, you know, I'm with you and stuff, but, you know, to hell with her. I'm going to tell her it's either, like, she has to be okay with us dating or kick me off the force. And Spencer kisses him. Mike runs through the woods, only slightly bloody on one arm where the shirt ripped. He gets sprayed in the eyes by a hooded figure, and we get a first-person POV shot where he stumbles around, and it's all blurry. And then we see the hooded figure, like, zigzag back and forth, like they're, like, scurrying rats running back and forth across the frame.
I was thinking of when we had our A dance party.
Oh, right, when they're all, like, running
in
around.
New York, yeah.
Yeah, maybe it was multiple people. And then something hits him from behind. Arya furiously calls Fitz, wondering where they are. Eventually, she tries to call Andrew, but reaches his voicemail and asks him to drive up to the cabin to find Fitz and Mike. Caleb and Fitz find Mike taped to a tetherball pole. Before they untie him, Caleb's like, "We need proof," and take a picture of him. The lawyer passes out photos during the trial, it's now resume of Alison's trial. The lawyer passes out photos from the Mona attack video. And it says the strikes to Mona came from the assailant's right arm. And it's like, "Hey, Alison, can you throw this fruit?" And then they throw the fruit back and forth, and the judge is very mad that they're throwing fruit around. The lawyer points out that it's painful for Alison to throw for that long distance because she broke her elbow when she was about 2.5, and the fracture never healed properly. Now, I may be a simple country lawyer, but I ask you fine folks, how could my innocent client, this girl who can barely be able to throw it comfortably, throw such furious punches with an arm that don't work properly? Thank you very much.
Are you proud of yourself?
I am. I wrote it in my notes. I had to pause the episode yesterday so I could write that out.
Oh my gosh.
Caleb and Fitz report Mike's attack to Tanner. They can't
That's
identify.
why you have to pause.
That was one of them, yeah.
Okay. Sometimes when you pause, I'm like, oh man, he fell behind. Nope, he's
So I
doing
did-
a bit.
I was afraid I was going to fall behind because I had to get the bit down. There's a couple other times where it was legitimate. Not that writing a bit down isn't legitimate. Caleb and Fitz report Mike's attack to Tanner. They can't identify the person who attacked Mike, and Tanner's like, well, you have to file the attack in the county where it occurred. And Caleb loses it, and it's like, this town has everything backwards. I can't believe it. And it's like, can you believe, like, I can't believe you won't do something that happened to, like, my friend. And then shows Tanner the photo of Mike, and Tanner's like, isn't it weird that, like, as his friend, that when you saw him tied up, you took a picture? The prosecution shows off an archery prize that Alison won from her time at summer camp, and is like, now, how could this be with your bad arm? The friends then receive a text from A that says, bullseye, bitches. Allie isn't responding to the prosecutor at all. We see the ice pick being carried away by the police in the station as Toby comes in to visit Tanner to talk to her, and she's like, it's too late to help your girlfriend or her friends. Allison sits sadly as her lawyer comes up to talk to her. As the jury is deliberating, Allie says, I actually didn't even win the... Also, Jason and her dad are out to lunch.
Yeah, you know,
They're
they gotta
just grabbing
eat.
food. Alison says, I actually didn't even win that competition legitimately. I talked my bunkmate into setting it up like kind of like ahead of time for us to like fake the win. She says it's too late to tell the truth now. Arya sees a text from Fitz saying Mike is okay but shaken up. Andrew then shows up and says, sorry, I missed you last night. And Arya's like, where were you? He's like, I was finishing my yearbook page. He sits next to her and Arya looks at his page and is like, oh my god, you're a Pathfinder scout, which is like where the Pathfinder was, where the camp was. So that Mike and Caleb were at. Isn't that interesting?
Mike, Caleb, and Ezra.
And Ezra, right. Who? Fitz. The jury reached a verdict and they found Alison guilty. Arya looks over at Tanner staring her down, and then Tanner's like, all right, get him. And the police come over and arrest the friends, and we see them all, getting checked into prison.
Checked in?
I couldn't remember what it's called when they bring you in.
Hi, I'm checking in.
Sell for one. Do you have one that accommodates, do you have a 3-bedroom?
What's the view in that room? Is there any upgrades available?
Now, is there, if we did for the 3-bedroom one, is there any ensuite bathrooms there, or do we have to share one?
In the middle of the room.
That's right. Makes me think. Oh, let me finish. I'm almost done. No more bits, Brenton. A gloved hand drives a bus of dolls in a toy bus that says Department of Corrections on the side up to a castle. They pull out a brunette doll and put it behind the castle gates. They then pick up a corsage, and we see a hanging suit on the wall. What might that be? I actually don't know. The end.
Okay. Why is Leslie coming out of the woodwork?
I don't know. I was like, oh, right, her. Hi, Leslie.
They added so many characters in the last like 5 episodes to like really like, I mean, like Andrew we already knew, but like they made these characters important all of a sudden. You're like, what the fuck?
Right. There's just like, it's like, oh, Leslie's here. Okay, sure. Hello, Leslie. I do think like Hannah's probably on the money, where it's just like, yeah, she was like friends with Mona and like hates Alison, so here she is. The way that she characterizes like Hannah and stuff doesn't seem right, because it seemed like her and Hannah got along so well.
Mm-hmm.
That's the only suspicious thing to me. Her hatred of Mike makes sense, because Mike is like accosting her in a coffee shop and is like, you put that book back.
Mm-hmm.
But so there could be foul play, but I don't know.
Let's talk about
I don't think so.
Andrew.
Uh-huh.
Andrew, when he walks into the first court case and puts his hand on Arya's, there's a cut on his hand.
Oh, that's a good pickup there.
I'm pretty sure there's something on his hand. Do you?
He just didn't wash properly. Dirty.
The actor's
Dirty,
like,
unclean boys.
How dare you notice? What do you think anything of that? Do you think there's any reason to think anything of that?
Does seem suspicious. I'm still of the mind that he's like following them around because Arya won't bring him in, and so he feels like he needs to protect her because of some misplaced sense of, I'm the good guy, I'm the guy who's going to come to her rescue. Soon she'll let me into this, because he's over these 2 episodes, I didn't write in my notes, but he's kind of like, if you need someone followed or getting up to crazy shenanigans, I'm your guy. And Arya's like, okay, that's nice.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it's probably from like following them around.
So do you think the Pathfinders thing is like a red herring?
Yeah.
Okay. And do you think
Unless he's like, I'm gonna kill Fitz and shot an arrow at Mike.
because he was in Fitz's car?
Uh-huh. Which, a possibility.
But then tied Mike up?
Right. Well, he didn't know who it was, and then he's like, oh crap. Well,
He didn't know
don't
it
come
was
after
Mike?
me. He's running in the woods? Probably not. I mean, it's hard.
Where was Andrew that night then? Why didn't he answer his phone? Do you think he was just working on his yearbook page? Do you think Andrew's telling us the truth?
No. I think he was like I said, I think he's like keeping tabs on him and following him around. And he could have actually been like trying to keep tabs on like Fitz and them. I could see that because he's like just being weird. And I think being overly
Protective.
Yeah, and jealous. Like he's obviously very jealous of and threatened by Fitz. So I could see like, well, I'm going to be able to like step in and save the day or something, or I don't trust them. Be the big thing there. There's one other thing I wanted to say about Andrew. Oh no, and I lost it. Oh well, we'll come back around if I remember.
Pathfinders, where he was, the yearbook thing, startling Arya all the time.
Oh right, it does really seem that Arya is just kind of like. I mentioned this to you last night that she's just kind of like, yeah, well, this is like fun for now, and Andrew's like, oh, it's so great to be boyfriend girlfriend, and Arya's like, that's okay, it's okay, that's fine. Yeah, I like you too.
There we go. We'll switch over to Toby now. Kind of have this by character.
Oh, nice.
Not intentionally, but that's kind of how it's working out. Why is Toby keeping so distant at the beginning of the episode, and why has he been so distant?
So I think he is doing it because he thinks he can get more ahead at work, and that he can then be the person that is involved with the case and the hero. It's a similar thing. Toby has this similar thing of like Andrew is like the White Knight thing, but instead of really being close to Spencer, he's pulling away. He's like, I gotta do this thing on my own.
Be back here.
So I think that's what it is. That he's that misplaced sense of like control that we talked about a few episodes ago. That if he can do this and try and then if he can at least like not communicate with her and pull away, then he'll get involved and be more in the promotion and things, which like absolutely sucks. And you notice that he also doesn't come back to Spencer to like resolve their feelings until he's like being demoted to coffee duty.
Ooh, and so why do you think Tanner's fucking with him?
Because like they're gonna arrest her friend, like all the friends.
Mm-hmm.
So Tanner is obviously like not wanting him there because what if you gave them a heads up? What if you somehow like broke her? Like that's still a liability to her. And she's in the FBI because it kind of seemed like, all right, we get him arrested and then I'm out of here and I'm done with this case.
What do you think is going to happen to Toby now that Spencer's been arrested?
I think he's probably still going to stay on the force and just he may have a change of heart though and try and help them. I could see him having a change of heart of like, oh no, I need to help. Like this has gotten bad for worse. And this is partially my fault because I cut off my girlfriend out of a misplaced sense of protection. And whoops. So now he'll probably like help Caleb a little bit.
Okay. Let's talk about Michelangelo. Well, just Michael.
So this episode, you would not be confused by our descriptions that, you would not be mistaken as if you would think that this is like an 8-year-old boy that's being like called in to testify.
Uh-huh. Why are Arya's parents seemingly unworried or not informed about Mike being thrown under the bus during this trial? Like, they're like, oh, no one told them? Like, did Veronica not call Ella like she did to Ashley and be like, hey, they mentioned Mike in the testimony today?
Yeah, you think they would pull him in, like give him a heads up, right? That no one is looking out for Mike. This is truly a child left behind.
Should Mike tell the truth?
Absolutely. He should have told the truth like a while ago. Now it doesn't matter. It absolutely does not matter because the police have their case. They've arrested the suspects. And so they're not going to listen to Mike. This is exactly like when Mike's at the police station. Tanner doesn't want to hear it because she has her suspects. And now they're all liabilities of
Loose threads.
Exactly, yeah, or and that they're just trying to say protect them, trying to come up with excuses, and so it is the biggest. It's the biggest thing that bites them all in the ass by not having Mike testify. When Caleb's like, "Yeah, Arya made this extremely dumb decision. It is the dumbest decision in the entire episodes."
Yeah, he's
And-
like, she's scared and she made a bad choice, which I
Yeah.
did appreciate him contextualizing.
And going back to all the way when she also tells Alison, "Please don't pull in Mike."
Mm-hmm.
And but even then we kind of get the idea that they should have not gone to the police, but really prepared a case in case like the trial,
Mm-hmm.
but they didn't.
Who shot the arrow at Mike?
I'm all of a sudden coming around on this new theory of Andrew trying to shoot at them because he thought it was Fitz. I really like that. I really hope that's the case. That'd be just fantastic. Of like the wild Pretty Little Liars,
Just like jealous boyfriend vibes.
Exactly. Yeah, thinking it. Oh, I thought it was Fitz. And then attacking them. But then the other thing could be that A is trying to silence loose threats.
Yeah. Do you think it was one person?
Shooting arrows?
And
Or
macing and doing the tying up and everything.
How
How big does the person have to be to tie Mike to the tetherball pole?
That's true. He's big. He's a big dude.
He's a big guy.
Yeah. Oh, he's just a little boy. It could be multiple people. You're right. When you were saying that it was, you thought it was like the dance, the
It just
A
made me
dance.
think of that.
Yeah.
Will Tanner ever believe any of them?
Absolutely not.
The show will end before Tanner believes anyone.
Well, no. Tanner will have to eat crow at some point.
Okay.
And I assume that won't come until the next A reveal.
So not the one we're currently in, but the one after?
Oh, sorry.
This.
The upcoming A reveal, yeah.
Got it. That's when Tanner
And
will
that's
eat crow.
when, because I'm assuming that's when everything will end. They might get like legally out on bail or something like that. Or, there might be like some sort of hijinks that allows them to then return to Rosewood, okay? And if that does happen, then Tanner's like, I'm keeping an eye on you.
Okay. What happens now that Allie is guilty of murder? For Allie?
Yeah, how does that ever get cleared up?
Uh-huh.
Boy.
Also, they literally convicted her on the idea that like they were like, maybe this blonde girl could be her. They couldn't see her face, and the idea that she has a right hand.
Right.
Like, and like some like there's actually no evidence for Allie.
Right. It's like, oh, well, she
And
won
the
that
threat.
archery competition, so that must mean that she was able to toss Mona like a rag doll into the wall.
Also,
And they're like, yeah, that would make sense.
absolutely. Yeah. I mean, that's obviously the same movement.
Uh-huh. She could just pick up Mona and spin her around like a top.
What I always say.
Like one of those like old strongman things. What is gonna happen with Alison? Bad times in jail for sure.
Mm-hmm.
And how does it? I feel like it has to turn around at some point that she gets out of prison, and they're just maybe she gets out of prison and goes on the run or something. Yeah.
Oh, back on the run.
Convicted criminal.
What?
Wanted dead or alive.
Why are all the other girls under arrest? Like accessory to murder?
Accessory to murder.
But like, and do you think the ice pick is that evidence and we don't really know like what about it?
You're probably right. I hadn't put that together, but because they show the ice pick so much in the episode.
And it was thrown through the window at Mona's house.
Right, yeah.
But that doesn't like...
Then how did the police get that? Because that would have been later.
I think probably Mrs. Vanderwall called in that there had been a break-in.
And someone had thrown the ice pick through a window.
Mm-hmm.
I could see that. Okay.
Because A had been there.
Yeah. Because then the ice pick must have been used to stab Mona's, or they're like Mona's blood or something on it. Yeah, because it makes sense for Hannah's, because they found
her blood on Mona's clothes.
Yeah. And so maybe the other three were like they are being accessories of like either helping cover up or like bury evidence.
What happens now?
I feel we're gonna get a prison episode where everybody's having a rough time, like adjusting to the prison life, and then the boys are gonna or the part. I was gonna say to be like, oh no, the partners. I'm like, is Talia gonna jump in? She just sitting at Pam's house all by herself. At least the boys.
Uh-huh.
I don't know if Talia's gonna do anything. Talia's not really involved. Doesn't really know anything. So probably just the boys trying to break him out.
Who was the corsage and the suit for? What's going on there in that last little A scene?
Yeah. Okay, so
What do you use corsages for?
yeah, like a dance, like a prom. So is there prom coming up? Is the last episode prom? The finale prom? They go to prison prom?
Yes, it's prison prom. How did you guess?
Because that would be the last dance of the school year, too. Because we've already passed. This is second half of the school year.
I'm sure it's prison prom. Obviously, you got a nail in one, hole in one,
nail in one,
nail on the head.
Oh, right. Yes, yeah. I guess it's who, but for who?
Yeah, who's going to prom? And who's the corsage for? Or not prom?
Is it Lucas? What have you been up to, Lucas? I had forgotten about you.
It's the end of a season that always brings me back to like, what is Noel, Lucas, Jenna? Like, what are they all doing right now?
Where are you at?
We just got our Melissa update, so we know she's in London. We know Ren is in London.
Right. Keeping away. Yeah. Maybe Noel or Lucas. Yeah. Heading to prom.
Well, do you want to?
Why are they playing? Why are they doing stuff with the dolls? Andrew could be going to prom, I guess, too.
And he's playing with dolls?
Yeah, it could be much worse than what I was saying. That he's not. He's actually just, dangerous.
Okay. Is that you want to take us over to Theory Corner while you work through that?
We will certainly try.
I think you're going to do great at figuring this out.
Let us step into... Welcome to Theory Corner. Rigging endorsements only. Because I can tell that this is just cut and dry. Boy, howdy.
Very uncomplicated case.
And so it would seem by having all the friends locked up that this is A, getting revenge on Alison and her friends and tying up any loose ends in relation to Alison.
So is A's motive revenge? Sorry to cut you off.
That's what it would seem like at this juncture. I've not always been sure about that, and I don't know.
That's what I was asking, because you've had different theories on that, so I wanted to set the framework. And
I have no framework for if this is in fact, like past theories of like it was using A was like pushing them to like help Alison and like point toward like the actual bad people that were running things. I have no idea how this would do that. Like getting Alison convicted of murder and then the friends thrown in jail. It could be. And if that is the case, that it's like for altruistic motive, I look forward to that explanation because I don't know how to wrap my head around that. But that this has all been revenge, and now like all those loose ends are like there's officially revenge on Alison and the friends kept putting their nose in things, so then had to take them all down, and then the other like boyfriends and then Mike and things are now just loose ends that need to be tied up. So that, well, in poor Mike's case, literally. And it would seem, at least in Mike's case and things, it'd be intimidation, unless of course it was Andrew that happened to stumble upon Mike, which is an even better. I really hope that's the case.
I really hate to get your hopes up.
Yeah. It's all right. I don't know what prom and the suit have anything to do with it.
It doesn't have to be. I guess. Yeah. What else would you wear? Is there anything else you'd wear a corsage to?
Anything else you'd wear a corsage to?
I don't know. That was simply
just dances, huh? That's what I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. Also, it's okay. The one thing that's interesting about the bus, they only pull out one brunette doll and put it behind the castle. So you'd think that they're planning on maybe stealing them when they get transferred. I could see that being the kidnapping. That like they get grabbed when they're being transferred on the bus.
So then why would the brunette...
Specifically?
Yeah, so is the brunette not getting taken or get the one that is getting taken?
The one that is getting taken.
Okay.
So maybe I will change my addendum that they all end up at the same place and maybe only like Arya or something gets grabbed. Because it wasn't Mona because it didn't have glasses. Mona always has glasses.
In the doll form.
Uh-huh.
I love this.
That's how they break it up. So that's my best guess at what that is going on. Because they would all then be behind. There's no reason if they're in the Department of Corrections to then be on a bus labeled Department of Corrections. I think that's their plan. Maybe they're...
Why would they be on a bus?
Being transferred.
To
They're
where?
they're being transferred, say, from like holding cells to the Department of Corrections, like off to Chester County or something.
Oh, you're saying like we don't know where they checked the 3 in because we know Hannah and...
Yeah, or they're being moved. They do in fact get moved to a different prison. They're like, oh, we're gonna actually move you to the maximum security, like over this way.
Or the other ones have like a lighter security because they're a lighter crime or...
Right, exact. Oh, right, yeah, because like minimal security prison that they had, like Alison had been floated if she took the plea deal. I don't know why you'd only take one. Why you'd only take Arya, per se.
Or Emily.
Or Emily, yeah.
Or Spencer. The only 2 blondes are already in jail.
Right. Well, the blondes aren't getting out. Yeah, so why one of the brunettes there? Maybe... I don't... Yeah. That's a hard one. Maybe the prom thing. So maybe we're not seeing A in that last. It could be... I don't... So it could be people planning an escape or something and planning one of their escapes to get out of there. But then it seems like they're being put inside the castle, so that doesn't seem right either. Anyways, who might be doing this? Who might be A? My best guess is probably still Cece right now. And then with helpers of maybe like Lucas and Noel. I'd forgotten about Lucas all these weeks. I should have been mentioning. What's in the barrel?
Who's in the barrel?
Yeah.
They said there was bone fragment, but...
Them bones. I don't know, man. Who are we missing? I don't know. The barrel eludes me.
At this point in the show, I distinctly remember being like, they're giving a lot of rapid fire, all of a sudden evidence towards it being Andrew. And so I thought, watching the show at that time...
You meant being in the barrel?
No. But as A, because I was like, he has been around this whole time. He's been, he's trying to get with Spencer. Like, he knows all of them. He's been around. He's actively trying to get with Arya. It seems kind of shady. You don't really know. And in my mind, I was like, why else would they try to back end a whole bunch of information about him now? Like, it seemed like they had lazy writing and they were trying to cover it up. Right. That's what kind of esteem I was holding the show in.
Yeah, you're like, oh, I'm not going to fall for your tricks.
Think about how long I had waited for this reveal.
Oh, absolutely.
Like years. Literal years.
Right. And then also this episode and the last episode, that's another week apart that you're sitting there waiting.
Yeah.
Theorizing. I think because we can see on the compressed time frame that Andrew has not been around much. That's why I go like, eh. So Jen is also on my suspect list.
I won't tell you if I was ever accurate or not, but
appreciate it. Yeah, maybe Andrew is, but not reading to me. It could be, I've made bad guesses before. I will probably make bad guesses again.
Okay.
Really curious what happens next episode.
Well, shall we go watch it?
Sure. We'll bid you all goodbye. But I mentioned this to you last night. I think the episode 24 of this is one of my favorite episodes.
It's good.
It's
I
so
didn't
good.
remember how good this was. So a lot of people really love this next episode that we're going to watch. And I believe the season opener of the next season, I'm pretty sure they're kind of like tandem. I remember at the time, I was so annoyed with because I've already prepared you for the idea that you're going to get an RAB situation.
Mhm.
I was so mad about that I could not enjoy it. So I'm really intrigued to see if I like it better.
Now you're like, okay.
Because I just had such disdain for like the back half of this whole season because of that. Because I just remember finishing it and being like, are you fucking kidding me? They're like, we're going to give you A's name or something like that. And it's like, okay. And then you get it and you're like, what the fuck?
Right. You were seeing advertisements and you're like,
Yeah.
oh, there's going to be answers.
A is for answer, or whatever the hell the things were. And, you know, it's like you're promised these answers and then you get them and they're not actual answers. And you're like, oh my God, I'm gonna scream.
Completely. That's the nice. It is also the weird thing about doing this now that with the show that's completely finished on streaming.
There's no waiting.
There's no waiting. Yeah.
Well, there's none of the advertising. You miss like the conspiracy culture, I guess, of it, you know, where you're sitting there trying to figure out what it is and why it is. And
it's going to be a similar thing like when we eventually talk about Lost. I remember that last season, all the promotions before every single episode
you're going to
was
get
like,
answers, and then you don't get answers. I know that.
It would be
Lost.
like, all will be revealed.
I remember those commercials.
Yeah.
I remember because Jim watched it, but I watched parts of it, but I didn't know what was going on. But apparently, it didn't matter.
No, it does not. So that'll be also be an interesting.
I remember
watch.
asking Jim at the time. I was like, "Should I start watching Lost?" And he's like, "Why?"
Yeah.
He's like, "I'm finishing it because I started it." And he's like, "But I wouldn't put you through that." So maybe my father loves me more than you do.
Yeah. Sorry.
I think he was trying to get me to watch Heroes at the time too.
that's much worse.
Save the cheerleader, save the world.
That first season was good, and then it was just
I mean,
at least
it might have
Lost.
been around the time of the first season.
Yeah.
I don't remember. I don't know how those line up.
But, you know, potentially one for the future of the show, I guess. But
is Heroes a mystery?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So Heroes starts off with like people are developing superpowers. Like what is happening there, and who are the people that are after them?
Okay.
And who is this mysterious bad guy? And then from there, I think only watched 2 seasons. We get a vision of there are nefarious people after. There's like some sort of villain, mysterious villain, and then the world's gonna end. How do they save this? And I'm pretty sure that's the replication each time.
Cool. Okay. Is what it is.
Yeah, it wasn't great.
So anyway, back to our Pretty Little Liars.
So
final thoughts?
Yeah, and I think at this point, you know, this types of mystery shows too, like kind of understanding it's like, yeah, a lot of the answers usually aren't satisfactory. So
yeah,
just enjoy the ride.
I accept that now, but I did not accept that then.
No, absolutely not.
I was not a person who was ready to accept those kinds of things 9 years ago.
And
I wanted concrete something.
And again, that we're, you know, that's separated out week to week.
I was graduating college. I was stressed and I wanted something consistent.
That's right.
And I did not get it here.
But we get to find out more answers next week.
I'm so excited to like get your theories after that one.
Boy. Anything is possible. Truly, anything is possible right now. Going to jail, like, that's huge. Like, that's fantastic. What a great, like, way to take this show. Anyways, you can find this podcast on all your audio podcast platforms of choice at Dead Ends. You can also find us on YouTube at Dead_Ends. You know, tell your friends, like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. Give us positive ratings and help, you know, anything like that helps us out. We are a humble, small podcast. So, yeah, that's it.
That's it.
For now, we're still here. We're going to find out everything.
And we have to go put on the episode for you.
That's right. And I'll get out of my orange jumpsuit.
Or will you?
Uh-oh.